Camera, make sure you properly wave.
I'll give you a wave as well.
Genius at work. World Snooker champion John Higgins.
Well, welcome to our second instalment of Snooker Live here on YouTube. I have been joined by a brace of excellence here, one in the commentary box, one still on the big stage. He'll be playing on Wednesday, Dominic Dale. But first of all, the editor of Snooker Scene, Clive Everton, the evergreen Clive Everton, as I used to introduce you in the commentary box. Great to see you here at this year's championship. Just what have you made of the season so far, with Ding winning 5, Ronnie showing good form? It's been a big year for the big names.
Well, it has, and that's why I can only, at the moment, see 3 winners. I think that O'Sullivan will play Ding in the top semi-final. I think Robertson will be in the other semi-final, but I think the third quarter is very much up for grabs.
Now, compared to the old days, there is so much snooker being played on so many continents with so many flights for the players. Good for the air miles, Dominic. We'll get to you in just a moment, but do you see that driving the standards up, or do you see your skill and your patience and your experience on the table?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is as well, I mean, you alluded to earlier, is the sheer number of tournaments that we have these days. When you fly back from these tournaments, you find that you're not sleeping on British time for quite a while, and it can affect you practicing then for another event. So it's pretty tough, but I think if you eat well and you're fit, it certainly will help, certainly, definitely.
And it's been fascinating, Clive, to see how the ranking system has kind of yo-yoed a bit, and certain players have thrived off this format and certain haven't. And if we talk about a match that's been happening this afternoon, Ryan Day against Stephen Maguire. Day started the season out at 31. He's now up at 20. Stephen's had issues with his back and has drifted out, I think, from 5th to 13th. So perhaps there was always the possibility that this one could get tight, or could maybe produce an upset, because Ryan's now taking a 6-3 lead into their second session.
He played very well, scored very heavily, and won a couple of close frames. 130 was his top break, made a couple of 60s and some valuable 40s and 50s. So although he hasn't won yet, 6-3 is a good lead.
And do you see signs that he is getting back to the player who was not just in the top 16, but at some stage he was in the top 8 and he was gracing major finals?
Yep, he was once ranked as high as 6th. I think he's got a good attitude. I think he can get back, and he's grown in confidence the last few months, I think, and he's certainly hitting the ball very well now.
Well, it would be important for Welsh snooker, Dominic, for Ryan to come back up. We're sadly not graced by the presence of Mark Williams, a little bit of a surprise. I think it's the first year he hasn't been here since 1996, so we hope you're back next year, the Welsh potting machine. So it will be important for Ryan to to make up for that. If this lack of appearance from Mark Williams is going to turn into a bit of a habit rather than a one-off.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, we're missing Matthew Stevens here this year, so two of the biggest stars in Welsh snooker not here this year. But Ryan, as you say, has been playing some very good snooker of late. He's one of the greatest potters I've ever seen play the game when he's on form, and he's a very confident player, and he's just beginning to find that confidence again. As Clive said, he was at one time world number 6. He has shown some vulnerability over the years when he has held a lead in big matches. I think Stephen Maguire is going to still have a big say in this match, and I can still see it going quite close, actually. Let's hope from Welsh point of view that Ryan can actually carry on the good form of today into the final session of the match.
Great analysis there, Dominic. Now, the most important question of the day, as far as you're concerned, is that there have been rumours that Dominic always tends to dress snazzily. He's got brilliant shoes when he walks out. Always look at the man's shoes when he comes out onto the big stage. But you've also been talking about dyeing your hair red, but at the moment it looks black. What's going on?
Well, I think everybody will be well familiar with the fact that I've been peroxide recently, probably for about 5 months, and I decided I wanted to go back to more my natural colour, which is sort of the dark side of brown. And the picture I posted on Twitter was actually when I had the initial pigment put back into my hair, which was bright red, because when you've actually got dark hair, you have a reddish pigment in your hair. You need to put that back in.
Clive's taking notes of this, by the way.
Well, if I could actually achieve Clive's colour, I'd stayed peroxide, but I can't quite match Clive's shade, unfortunately.
Okay, so what colour is your hair going to be when you play Mark Davis? Because you've got a couple of days to go yet before your first round match.
Well, having spent upwards of £100 having my hair done this colour, I don't plan on changing it now for quite some time.
£100? These players are earning a fortune, Clive. He's got money to burn if he can spend £100 on hair dye.
Sheffield prices.
Well, a tenner's enough for me.
Okay, well, it's amazing who you can bump into here at the Crucible. You may be familiar with the name John Richardson from 8 out of 10 Cats, and he was actually out on the arena floor. He's performing all throughout this week, not in Sheffield, but he's a massive snooker fan, and he took the time to come here to the Crucible, and we managed to grab a word or two with him out on the Coliseum floor itself. Snooker has many fans, including one of our famous friends here from 8 out of 10 Cats. So, John, great to see you here. We didn't know you were a snooker fan.
Oh, well, I am, yeah. I thought if I sat here, no one would notice and I'd get a game, but I think I've been rumbled.
So you were in this morning. You saw a little bit of Ronnie. I mean, it's as someone who knows what it takes to work a crowd, he gets some reception, doesn't he?
I think it sort of helps when you're so clearly the best that there's ever been at something. I think that gives you a bit of an advantage. You can feel people. He's already one of those people that you better see him now because people will talk about him for years. So, yeah, he's incredible.
And what about the layout of the arena? As a theatre, this is a really, really special place because you've got this, 2 metres or so where it's sunken down. It feels a bit like a coliseum.
It is. Well, it's nice as well because it's an individual sport, but there's still those elements like this bit when the early rounds they're sat right next to each other. When you're taking a thumping and you're sat next to the person who's doing it and you just have to sit ahead like that and pretend it's not happening.
And there isn't much space, is there? I mean, things often look, as you know, bigger on TV, but this is tight. You can't really get away from the opponent.
Well, I think we're quite close now, aren't we? I think you're finding it quite physically oppressive being next to a specimen like me. I mean, if I tell you that I've got a high break of 24, now imagine sitting next to me in a match arena. Oh, terrifying.
Well, actually, you're 2 ahead of me because I'm only ever, my best break is brown, blue, pink and black. So you'd have the edge.
Well, I hope so. 3 red blacks I did, and then I just choked. The pressure of the quarter century got to me, and I just bottled it. But
is this the first year you've been, or have you come as an ordinary punter before?
No, this is my first year. I can't believe it. I'll be coming back. But yeah, it's amazing to be here.
What's been the thing that struck you most about the difference between watching it at home and having a look round and actually being here for the atmosphere?
It's exactly the things you would think it's going to be. Just the skill of it, the size of the tables when you're in the flesh, and the atmosphere, how much people get behind it. It's incredible. It's really nice being here. And I met Stephen Hendry, which that's my year complete.
Did you get his autograph?
No, I didn't want to talk to him.
Did he get yours?
No, I don't think he has any idea who I am, and quite right. But he was my sort of idol growing up in the 90s. You had Sampras and Schumacher and Hendry and people like that who just quietly went about the business of being the best in the world at something. I was just in awe of them. I thought they were amazing. So to have been in a room with Stephen Hendry is enough of a day for me.
Okay, as a huge Hendry fan then, because I mean I could sit and talk to you all day, but the play is actually going to get underway. We've got Murphy, and Murphy's going to be in your chair in about 15 minutes' time. How do you compare Hendry and Ronnie, as you are such a Hendry fan, but you've watched a good session from Ronnie this morning?
Everyone talks about their natural talent. It makes it sound like Stephen Hendry's not naturally talented, but I think there's a difference between being clearly gifted at something and, obviously Ronnie goes in and out of the game when he gets bored with it. Stephen had that just ability to keep going and have that thing that from qualifying to the final, everyone is raising their game against you, and to keep that up for
of that morning session with the Rocket.
Well, Hull played quite well. He made a century, but Ronnie is the man at the moment. He seems to have found the recipe for playing at his best by picking and choosing his tournament and not getting overplayed. He did once lose from 7-2 up to the late and still much missed Paul Hunter in the final of the Masters. Led 7-2, lost 10-9, but Robin Hull isn't Paul Hunter, and I think Ronnie will win quite comfortably.
Dominic, from a playing perspective, I mean, it does seem as though Ronnie is fully in the groove. Champion of champions, the Masters with that amazing frame against Ricky Walden, who basically didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't get to the table. And then a 1-4-7 to dispatch Ding, who obviously we know won 5 ranking events. So it does seem as though Ronnie has absolutely tapped into where he needs to be come the big moments.
Yes, what impresses me with Ronnie, he seems to be very focused when he plays in any tournament that he plays in these days, obviously by the simple experience, I suppose, of Steve Peters, his psychological coach. And, I looked at Ronnie in the first session this morning, and he looked to show some nerves, some tension in his face, and that tells me he's really up for this and really focused, and he wants to win this. And I think the nearer he gets to Stephen Hendry's record of 7 world titles, I think that just buoys Ronnie to try and equal it or maybe even surpass it in the future.
Well, because he's now only 13, 14 months away from that, because he's now within touching distance.
Well, if he wins this time and next time, but never underestimate how difficult that is.
Well, there'll be many, many more talking points, and of course he isn't over the line just yet, and it's been a great story for Robin Hull to even get here. Clive Everton, thanks for your thoughts. Dominic, good luck with the remainder of the hair dyeing, and good luck against Mark Davis. We will be watching plenty more to come throughout the championship. We will be live here on YouTube twice a day, usually around about 1 or 6 o'clock. If we have to delay it till 1:30, we'll always send out a tweet just to let you know. Many, many more talking points to come here. The Dafabet World Snooker Championship is up and running in fine style.
Genius at work. World Snooker Champion John Higgins.